Hello students, in this lecture we will be discussing deadlock avoidance approach. The basic idea behind this approach is to avoid deadlocks by careful resource allocation. Banker's algorithm is generally used for avoiding deadlocks. The basic concept of avoidance approach is based on the idea of safe and unsafe states. Now what are these safe and unsafe states? Let us see a model for dealing with two processes and two resources. The horizontal axis represents the number of instructions executed by process A and the vertical axis represents the number of instructions executed by process B. The instructions are I1 to I4 for process A and I5 to I8 from process B. These I1, I2, I3 are just numbers, that is names or labels given to these instructions. It is not necessary that I5 will come after I4 and so on. So 4 instructions for process A and 4 instructions for process B. As we can see here from the diagram that process A needs printer for instructions I1 to I3 and needs plotter from instructions I2 to I4. Similarly, process B needs plotter from instructions I5 to I7 and need printer from I6 to I8. So A will need printer and plotter both between I2 and I3 and B will need plotter and printer both between I6 and I7. So how the operating system will now execute these instructions and what is the concept of safe and unsafe state here. So let us assume these two processes are taking turns while executing. So for a particular time A will execute, then B, then A and B and so on. So let us start from point 0. So that is labeled as P. So first the turn of process A comes. So A will start executing, it will move from P to Q point. Now from Q it will be the turn of B. So the a line goes upwards vertically to point R. Then again the turn of A comes. So A will move from R to line I1. Now at I1 A will ask for printer. So if printer is allocated to A, so A will proceed further and will reach point S. Now at point S it is the turn of B. So B will start executing, the line will go upwards up to T. Now at point T, this is the point where the operating system needs to make a decision here that at point T B is asking for plotter. If plotter is allocated to B, what will happen? B will start executing and the line will move upwards from T. Now at point where this line meets I6, B will request for printer. Now printer is not free, it was already allocated to A, so B cannot proceed further. So it will be the turn of A. Now A will move from point T to towards I2. At point I2 A will ask for plotter, which is not there, it is already allocated to B. So now both A and B will be waiting for a resource that is not available. So A will be holding printer and asking for plotter, B will be holding plotter and asking for printer, and this definition or this system state will turn towards a deadlock state. If operating system has decided at point T that it will not allocate plotter to B because eventually B will be asking for printer and printer is already with A, so the system state will turn into a deadlock state or unsafe state. So if the operating system would have stopped B or suspended B there and allocated plotter to A first so that A could finish its execution, and when printer and plotter were free, these two resources will be allocated to B. So the entire region below I5 along the horizontal axis and the region before I1 along the vertical axis is a safe state. That if the operating system would have selected B first and executed B, then A, then also system will be safe, and if A is finished first and then B, then also the system will remain in a safe state. But if after allocating printer to A or allocating plotter to B and then you resume the other process, then the system will turn into an unsafe state and eventually lead to a deadlock. So the portion which is crisscross with horizontal and axis lines is a deadlock state, and all the shaded region is an unsafe state. That means once the system reaches there, the execution is not stopped or the system is not in a deadlock state, but it is an unsafe state which will eventually turn into a deadlock state. For example, there is a bridge and there are two cars coming from opposite direction. So as soon as both the cars enters the bridge at the same time and proceed further, system turns in from safe state into an unsafe state. It is not deadlock. System will reach deadlock when both the cars will reach in the middle opposite each other. So then no car will be able to proceed further. So that is a deadlock state. So unsafe state will be as soon as the cars start their journey across the bridge. So safe state or unsafe state is not a deadlock state, but if the system enters unsafe state, then it will eventually lead into a deadlock state until we take some recovery actions. So in the avoidance approach, we try to let the system remain in an unsafe state, in a safe state. So a state is said to be safe if there is some scheduling order in which every process can run to completion even if all of them suddenly request their maximum number of resources immediately. So in diagram A, there are three processes and A need 9 instances of that resource, B needs 4 instances, and 7 needs 7 instances of that resource to complete their work. Now initially the system has allocated 3 instances of that resource to A, 2 to B and 2 to C. So how much A more needs? 6, B needs 2 more and C needs 5 more, and we have 3 instances of resources free. So what we can do is B can be allocated the 2 new resources that it is requesting for. So B will get all the resources that it is requesting for, so B will finish off, and the 2 resources that were initially allocated to B will be added to free. So now in section C we have 5 free resources. So now the request for C can be granted because A still needs 6, so we have only 5. So C can be allocated these 5 resources. So C will also get all the resources it is requesting for, and it will return all the resources back free. Now we have 7 resources free, so out of these 7, 6 can be allocated to A, and A will eventually be able to complete its work. So the system is in a safe state. But if a condition happens that the system is not able to complete the request of 2 or more than 2 processes, then we will say there is a deadlock. If we are not able to satisfy the additional request of all the processes in any order, then the system is said to be an unsafe state. So here suppose in the previous question 3 9 2 4 and 2 7 the same condition, but suppose A requested one more, so we allocated one more resource to A. So now A has 4 instances of that resource and it is requesting 9. We have maximum resources that are free now as 2. Now B's request can be completed, B will get and it will return its resources back, that then we will have free resources at 4. Now C needs 5 and B needs 5. We have only 4 resources. So the system is in a deadlock state. So at the point when A asks for one more resource and the system allocated one more to A, that was the instance when the system states turned into an unsafe state. So it was not a deadlock state because B was able to finish its execution, but it was an unsafe state, and then finally the system turned into a deadlock state when it was not able to satisfy the resource request of A and C respectively. So we will discuss Banker's algorithm. The Banker's algorithm is a resource allocation and deadlock avoidance algorithm. It was developed by Dicastras that tests for safety by simulating the allocation of predetermined maximum possible amounts of all resources and then make an S state check to test for possible deadlock conditions for all other pending activities before deciding whether allocation should be allowed to continue or not. So the algorithm derives its name from the fact that it could be used in a banking system to ensure that the bank does not run out of resources. So that is why this is the name given to Banker's algorithm. We will see how it works, but basically the same algorithm is used by banks, where bank ensures that when customers request money, the bank never leaves a safe state. If the customer's request does not cause the bank to leave a safe state, the cash will be allocated. Otherwise, the customer must wait until some other customers deposit enough money. So we will see how this algorithm works. We will have two versions, where Banker's algorithm for a single resource, and then the another one where Banker's algorithm for multiple resources. So Banker's algorithm for a single resource, here it considers each request that it occurs, seeing whether granting it leads to a safe state or not. If it does, the request is granted, otherwise it is postponed until later. If all requests can eventually be repaid, then the system is safe and the initial request can be granted. So here we have maximum request of A, B, C, D as 6, 5, 4, 7 respectively. Now we have allocated 1 to A, 1 to B, 2 resources to C and 4 to D. So we will see whether we will be able to finish the execution or not. We have 2 free resources. So we will be able to finish C first. So 2 resources, then we will have 4 free resources. So we will be able to finish D then. So D will finish off, then the resources will be 6. Then we can finish A, which needs 5 more, and then B, which needs 4 more. So we will be able to finish all the pending request of all the processes. But in the next case, where the C diagram C, here we have allocated 2 resources to B. So the total 10 resources out of 10, 4 or 2, 6, 2, 8 over 9. So we have allocated 9 resources and we have only 1 free. So if we have 1 free, we won't be able to finish the or service the pending request of any of the process. So system will turn into a deadlock state. So this is basically the concept of safe and unsafe state, and using Banker's algorithm, we will not allocate this extra resource to process B, because this allocation will lead the system into a deadlock state. Now there are 2 theorems. If the system has n processes and each having a maximum request of 2 resources with r resources in total, the system will be deadlock free for all cases if n is less than equal to r minus 1. Now see, if each process has maximum request of 2 processes, then let's give each process 1 resource. Then we have P is equal to R processes. So, but there will be no free resource to satisfy the pending request. Suppose we have 5 instances of a resource. So if we have 5 processes, then what will happen? If we give 1 to each, then we will have no free resource. Actually the question says ki deadlock free for all cases, not a particular case, all cases. So we will consider the worst case ki if we give one resource to each process, so we will have no free resources to satisfy the further request, because each process will be needing one more to finish their execution. So we have no resource free, so we won't be able to finish the request of any resource. But if we keep processes 4, then we will have one free, and this one free resource can be utilized to service the pending request of all the processes one by one. So if we keep the number of processes 1 less than total number of resources available, then the system will never enter into a deadlock state if each process is asking for maximum 2 instances of that resource. But in the next question, when each needing a maximum of n resources and a total of r resources available, that is, it is not 2, it could be any value, then what will be the value of the total number of resources What should be the value of total number of resources so that the system will never enter into a deadlock state? Now, as each process has maximum request of n resources, let us give n minus 1 resource to each process. Now, there are p processes and each has a maximum of n resources. So, need a maximum of n resources. So, we can give n minus 1 to all. So, R should be, so R, the total number of resources should be at least p into n minus 1, because there are p processes each having n minus 1 resources. But we need one more resource that can be used to satisfy the pending request of one resource for each process. Therefore, the total number of resources R should be greater than equal to p into n minus 1 plus 1. So, if n is equal to 4 and R is equal to 16, that means we have total instances of that resource as 16 and there are 4 processes. The number of maximum request of each process is 4. Then we can give n minus 1, that is 3 resources to at max 5 processes. 3 5s are 15. So, remaining 1 resource will be left that can be used to satisfy the pending request. So, maximum value of p is equal to 5 for making the system deadlock free at all times. So, we can actually use this formula to find out the maximum number of resources that will be required or processes that will be required to make the system deadlock free for all times. So, another example, a system shares 10 tape drives and the current allocation and maximum requirement of tape drives for 4 processes are shown below. So, P1 to P4 are the 4 processes, each having a maximum request of 9, 6, 5 and 10 respectively, and we have currently allocated 3, 1, 3 and 0 resources to these 4 processes. So, when 7 resources are already allocated, only free are 3. So, how we will use these 3 free resources to satisfy the pending request? So, the pending request of P1 is 6, P2 is 5, P3 is 2 and P4 is 10. So, how we will be able to satisfy this request? So, P3 will be able to finish first because it needs only 2 more resources. So, P3 will finish off and it will free the 3 resources that were already allocated. So, we will have 6 resources as free. So, then P1 will be able to finish off because P1 needs 6. So, it will, after finishing off, it will release the 3 resources that were already allocated to it. So, now the free resources will be 9. So, then P2 will be able to finish off and then P4 will be able to finish off. So, the safe sequence will be P3, P1, P2 and P4 respectively. So, in this way we can solve these types of questions. Again a question, consider a system with 3 processes that share 4 instances of the same resource type. Each process has a max request of a maximum of k instances. Resource instances can be requested and released only one at a time. The largest value of k that will always avoid deadlock is, suppose there is a 3 processes and share 4 instances of the same resource type. तो the maximum we have 4. तो k की value क्या होगी? Because we can allocate 2 to these 3 processes हैं, तो हम एक एक सबको दे देंगे. तो maximum request अगर 2 होगी, then only we will be able to satisfy the pending request of all the 3 processes with 4 instances. So the largest value of k that will always avoid deadlock is 2. So we have used theorem 1. Now consider a system with p processes that share 12 instances of the same resource type. Each process can request a maximum of 2 instances. So again, using that theorem we can say, if we have largest value of p will be 11. So if we have p more than 11, then the system will eventually if we keep p as 12, then each will be allocated one resource, then we will have 0 free. So we won't be able to satisfy the request of any process. So the maximum value of p will be 11. Now again a different question, consider the following snapshot of a system running n processes. process I is holding xi instances of a resource R, where I is between 1 and n. Currently all instances of R are occupied. Further, all I processes, for all I, process I has placed the request of an additional yi instances while holding the xi instances it already has. So each process has allocated xi resources and it needs yi more. There are exactly two processes P and Q such that they don't need any additional request, that is yp and yq is equal to 0. What is the necessary condition to guarantee that the system is not approaching a deadlock? As two processes P and Q have no additional request, they will run for completion. After completion, they will return the allocated resources xp and xq. Now the sum of these two resources xp and xq should be at least greater than the minimum request of other processes, that is P and Q. So the system will avoid deadlock. Okay, system will not enter into a deadlock. So xp plus xq is greater than equal to minimum of the remaining request is a necessary condition to avoid deadlock, and it is greater than equal to maximum of the pending request is a sufficient condition to avoid deadlocks. So basically we can say कि in this particular question कि जो पेंडिंग रिक्वेस्ट है, सपोज इसमें जो पेंडिंग रिक्वेस्ट है वो 10 है सबसे ज़्यादा, तो जो प्रोसेस फिनिश ऑफ हो रहे हैं उनका सम शुड बी एटलीस्ट ग्रेटर देन 10, then only the system will never enter into a deadlock state, because it will be able to finish all the processes, and it should be at least greater than 2, the minimum of the pending request, so that at least that process is able to proceed further, and it should be at least 2, so that the system is currently not entering into a deadlock state. So basically this is all about that question. Then the next question, suppose n processes P1 to Pn share m identical resource units which can be reserved and released one at a time. The maximum resource requirement of process Pi is Si, where Si is greater than 0. What is the sufficient condition for ensuring that deadlock does not occur? Maximum request of each process Pi is Si. Let each process gets one less than its maximum requirement. So for I is equal to 1 to n, Si minus 1 is equal to m. Then deadlock will occur as each process still has request for one resource pending. So all m resources have been consumed. So in the last two statements we have just rewritten the equation to get the final answer, that is Si should be, summation of Si should be less than equal to n plus m. So this, in this way, basically the logic behind nearly all the questions is कि whatever is the maximum request, if we allocate one less than this, then what will happen? So we have just adjusted our values around this particular concept only. So this is all about Banker's algorithm for a single resource. In the next video lecture we will discuss the Banker's algorithm for multiple resources. Thank you.